Hello, I'm Liz Van Vliet, and welcome to the Assist with Impact podcast. Join me as I explore the competencies and capabilities that allow you to assist with impact. I'll be sharing practical tips, strategies, and insights that will help you move beyond what I call the order taker zone and be that little hinge that can swing big doors. If you're ready to be more proactive and have more impact in your role, then this is the place for you. Let's get started with the episode. Well, hello, lovely listeners. Welcome to episode 173 of the Assist with Impact podcast, coming to you the week after the Easter break, a couple of days late. Apologies for that. I'm always apologising, I know. I tell you guys not to say sorry, so I'm going to try not to use those words, but you know that they're right here, sending them out to you. Anyway, here I'm sending you a big announcement. I'm sending you out an announcement to let you know some news from the camp of Liz Van Vliet, that I am in the process of putting together my newsletter that I'll be sending out to those lucky people that are on my email list. So if you are not a subscriber, make sure that you get yourselves on my email list in the next few days by sending me an email at liz@myeacareer.com, because I'm going to be announcing some very big news. The first of a few big pieces of news over the next few months. So you want to be subscribed to my email list. The first piece of news that I'm going to be announcing, that's going to be dropping in the next week, is that I am rebranding. I'm rebranding my business. So that email address that I just gave to you, my email address that I just gave you, liz@myeacareer. For those of you that have been playing along right back from when this podcast first came into existence, you will know that the podcast itself was what my business grew out of. So unlike many businesses that the podcast becomes an offshoot of their business, for me, it was the other way around. If you've been playing along ever since the podcast first started, you will know that the podcast was something that I began when I was an EA. When I was an EA after I was recovering from my breast cancer, and I came back to work as an executive assistant, and I was trying my darndest to be a great EA, but I really was quite clueless in the best possible way. I had a wonderful boss, but I really was clueless, and I was looking around for where I could learn how to be a great EA. And so, because I was a fan of podcasts, I thought, what better way to learn how to be an exceptional assistant than by starting a podcast? Now, the other reason I started the podcast was because my boss at the time had told me that he wanted to start a podcast for his business. And being somebody that was very proactive, I thought, what better way to learn what's going to be required for me to manage his podcast and be somebody that could be proactive in managing his podcast production and the needs that were going to be coming to me on that level than to start my own podcast. So that's a little bit of background if you haven't gone back and listened to the episode where I explain the origins of my podcast. Anyway, back to what's happening right now. So my podcast came about, and then when I subsequently left my EA role for health reasons and had that sort of time in the wilderness, so to speak, where I thought, what the hell am I going to do now? And I realized that what I'd actually loved about doing the podcast was that I had been inadvertently training and coaching assistants in the very power skills that I had taken for granted in all of those years in sales and marketing, deploying them in my day-to-day role and not realizing how valuable they were to you guys and how you guys could utilize them in your relationships with your managers. Anyway, back to today. What am I talking about today? Well, what I'm talking about is that a few years ago now, I rebranded. The podcast was called Being Indispensable. My business, when I set my business up, was called Being Indispensable. And I rebranded my business My EA Career. And I did it I wouldn't call it I did it on a whim. I did it wanting to make it, a little bit like what it said on the box. I was providing services for EAs to help them with their EA career. But a couple of years have gone by, and a couple of those years were during the pandemic. And what I've realized is that I don't just support and help EAs. And you're sitting out there going, no, Liz, you don't, because I'm not an EA. You might be saying I'm a PA, or I'm an admin assistant, or you might say I'm some other form of office professional. And that is the reality. I support and help all sorts of assistants, all sorts of professional support staff. And what I found pretty much from the get-go, from when I rebranded to My EA Career, was that brand actually didn't sit comfortably with me. I didn't actually like it. It didn't actually sit comfortably with me as an individual. And if you've been listening to me and have worked with me and have ever been in my training group, in a classroom environment with me, that I'm all about authenticity. I'm all about what you see is what you get. And My EA Career, there was something about it that just created friction with me. I've always been passionate about people. I love discovering who they are, knowing what makes them tick, and seeing their unique skills and gifts. That's why I'm such a passionate podcaster. So, I just realized that My EA Career as a business name just was not me. It was just so bland and blah that I just could not do it any longer. And over time, I have just gone all in with my linchpin assistant model and framework and the whole idea around what it takes to break out of the order taker zone and really elevate your effectiveness and find the ways to get yourself into that linchpin zone. And so what I found was that everything was leading me towards that linchpin word and that linchpin brand. So what I've decided is that is the brand that I'm going to rebrand to. So the Linchpin Assistant has emerged as what I'm describing as a purpose-led platform, program, professional development system, podcast, and place dedicated to boosting the confidence and career development of those in professional support roles to strategically contribute to an organisation's success whilst realising their own potential. It is empowered by being purpose-led. There have been many support programs for professional support professionals that have preceded mine, and there will be many that will continue to be established. But it is my unwavering mission to partner with organisations and to support you as professionals, to empower, to educate, and to elevate you through a simple and actionable methodology to raise your visibility, your value, and your voice in your organisation to set you apart as a linchpin assistant. Because I believe that we can build valuable career currency for EAs, PAs, business support, and admin professionals in the corporate economy. So that is my big announcement. And what you will find is that if you are subscribed to my email newsletter, that I will be announcing that via my newsletter. You will see me announcing it via my social channels, my Instagram and my LinkedIn and my Facebook, and I will be renaming my Facebook groups accordingly. And I will be really pleased to be announcing some new programs over the coming months in line with this rebrand to celebrate what I see as the opportunity for you to step up and become a linchpin assistant. So I hope you're as excited as I am about this rebrand. I hope you too can, jump on the bandwagon of helping me put my EA career, not that I hated it, but it just did not speak to my core values of celebrating linchpin assistants, that I believe at the heart of every assistant that wants to stand up and stand out is this desire to be more than an order taker. And that's what I want for you. So thanks for listening, and thanks for being there with me on this massive ride through all of this, these ups and downs over the years. Thanks for listening to today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see the show notes, head over to my website. It would be great if you haven't already done so. If you enjoyed the show, if you could kindly go to iTunes and leave a review. It helps other people find the show. Thanks for listening and have a great week.